Hello out there, everyone. Welcome to my channel, The Reconverted Catholic. I am CV. I appreciate you stopping by. And as you can probably see from this channel, that it's still close to brand new. Just about a couple weeks old, a few weeks old now here. Still getting this off the ground. I've mentioned in a couple of prior videos that I do have a full-time job and a couple of serious hobbies, interests. So I do have some time here and there, though, to work on videos for this channel. And it is important to me, though, too. My faith is central to my life here. And why I want to share my faith with the rest of the world, and including dialoguing with fellow Catholics and those of you out there who may be exploring Catholic Christian faith or have questions or doubts. I hope to address many, if not all of those on this channel. And speaking of which, today in this video I'll be covering part 2 in a series called Dialoguing with Doubters. So the first part covered dialoguing with atheists, and that actually I split that into 4 videos. So the first video being an intro to dialoguing with atheists and doubters / skeptics in general, and then the subsequent videos, 3 videos, focused on 3 angles or arguments that atheists make when dialoguing about religion, spirituality, and in particular the Christian faith. And those 3 arguments are the moral argument, the scientific argument, and the biblical scholarship argument. And in each of those videos I also include resources for learning about those different arguments in more detail and how to address them when dialoguing with, in that video series, atheists, and discussing, Catholic Christian faith. So today now we'll be covering, part 2, which will be dialoguing with spiritual but not religious and agnostics. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump in here. And of course, as always, please like or subscribe to the channel here. Comment on the videos. We'll definitely appreciate the feedback. Like the videos too if you can. That too helps me know if you do like the videos or don't like them. Either way, I love your feedback. And finally, you can reach me at trcatholic@gmail.com. That's Tango Romeo Catholic, so trcatholic@gmail.com. And I look forward to hearing from you there. So let's go ahead and get started. So those of you who are generally familiar with the history of Christianity know that within the past 500 years, Christianity has splintered into approximately 30,000 sects. No, that is not a joke. There are more flavors of Christianity now than Baskin-Robbins could have ever hoped to match with ice cream flavors. Religion in Western society is the new Baskin-Robbins. You can choose the flavor that best suits you, or mix and match flavors, or even sample several until you find the perfect, or as close as possible, the perfect choice. After all, we humans have been on an intense road to progress over the past 500 years. The dawn of modern science in the 16th century, the Enlightenment age in the 17th and 18th centuries, the abolition of slavery in the 19th century, the industrial and technological booms in the 20th century, and now in the 2020s, a hyper-convenient, super technologically driven world that science fiction writers from the 1950s could only dream about. And now it's become quite a bit reality. Yet our progress has been hampered and almost completely handicapped at times. Devastating ideological wars leading to authoritarianism and genocide were all the rage throughout the 20th century. On the flip side, the civil rights movement here in the U.S. started as a beacon of hope for ending discrimination based on race, sex, national origin, or religion. However, that has now unfortunately morphed into a self-absorbed, it's all about me, and quite a bit about group identity as well. which is further morphed into shaky, fallaciously subjective philosophies of do whatever makes you happy, and that egalitarianism will somehow solve all the world's problems. This is where the spiritual but not religious and Gnosticism enter the picture. People who wear these labels are often similar in the following ways. They reject organized religion. They generally avoid any spiritual movement that has guardrails. They like having the freedom to have doubts, and they tend to take a more secular approach to morality and ideological thinking, including the following arguments against religion. I'm a good person. Why do I need religion? Or if only one religion is right, then why are there so many different religions, all of which claim to be the true religion? Don't we all have personal truth, which is what matters most? I think the central figures, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Krishna, etc., from the various religions were all basically wise teachers whose purpose was to show we are all divine. Or the universe is the real agent behind spirituality, and we all connect to this spirituality through energy and the law of attraction. I believe Jesus was a special person, but his story is not original. It is borrowed from many other ancient religions formed in the Mediterranean Middle East. Figures like Jesus and Buddha represent consciousness that we need to learn how to transcend into a nirvana-like consciousness. I believe in a mix of ideas, chakras, nature, healing crystals, energy work, reincarnation, communicating with ghosts, spirits. Spirituality is ultimately about empowerment and personal growth anyways, right? Or I simply don't know whether God or a high power exists, or even just I simply don't care. And there are several more arguments too, but those are some of the key ones. So where exactly did we as humans go off the rails in dozens of different directions about spirituality? Sure, we're all entitled to believe what we want to believe. I certainly do not agree with forcing people into belief systems. However, we have a serious mess of semantics on our hands. Truth is now a wonder wheel of exciting mystical ideas presented as all being equally valid paths to connecting with the divine. Did I not say we were living in the age of Baskin-Robbins truth? Yet what exactly defines truth? Carl Jung, the well-known psychologist from the 20th century, proposed that truth about our spirituality, how we should engage with other humans in the world around us, how we can find our archetypal purpose in life, is embedded in what's called the collective unconscious. The idea is that from the earliest stages of evolution, humans have had an inherent understanding of transcendental thinking, morality, and spiritual pursuits. In other words, we are all hardwired to be spiritual beings. Moreover, we all, at some level, subscribe to universal truths about human existence. The collective unconscious idea helped influence many historians of religion, most notably Mircea Eliade and Joseph Campbell. While these two historians have been mistakenly lumped into New Age thinking, it is not so surprising that their ideas would get conflated into just believe in whatever works for you. If you're familiar with Joseph Campbell's works and lectures, including interviews with Bill Moyer and the Power Myth television series, Campbell does deserve props for well articulating the psychological components of spirituality and religion. Yet one of the biggest takeaways that spiritual but not religious and agnostics embrace is Campbell's now famous advice, follow your bliss. In fact, that is also the central message in the popular novel The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Not that the advice is all bad. Yes, we should all strive to have an earthly purpose that connects to our spirituality. However, when it turns into more of this is what I deserve, or if I keep thinking I'm meant to have that shiny new car, the law of attraction will provide, or the universe will guide me, or teetering on arrogant, self-congratulating platitudes such as I am blessed, or I'm a spiritual warrior, or that morality is forever malleable, then how is spiritual but not religious necessarily a healthy path to truth? As with our current sadly broken situation with dating and relationships, the spiritual but not religious and agnostic movements have centered more around rights and privileges and less about deep responsibility and accountability to each other. Hence why so many people run from organized religion. On one hand, the Christian faith, for example, strongly encourages personal responsibility and being structured about that. On the other hand, we are all individuals, meaning that some people are more orderly, while others are more carefree, and still others are somewhere in between. Yet while it is important that we each have our own individual identity, everyone needs a bit of structure to their life if they plan on exercising responsibility. Even Taoists have recognized this for the past 2,000 years now, that we must not devolve completely into chaos, that order must not be subverted into a disarray of irresponsibility and recklessness, just like mass hysteria. But that is our current situation. We are not making responsibility and healthy order a top priority. Yes, people do demonstrate some of this in their professions, though the money incentive usually goes along with that. And there's no shortage of parents, albeit a lot of single parents now too, nowadays, who shout from the rooftops that their kids are number one and, get great care, get the best care. However, what about all the humans in all forms of relationships, how we interact with each other? Why are terms such as ghosting or flaking so popular nowadays? Okay, you may be asking, how does this relate to spiritual but not religious and agnostic folks? It circles back to personal views superseding all other necessary components to society. Here in Western society, individuals are now so staunch about their individuality, or even bizarrely about group identity, that they have now ironically developed biases towards systems they think have an agenda against them, though that is often not the case. Case in point, views about the Catholic Church. There are too many rules, or that devout Catholic Christians are religious nuts who drank the Kool-Aid, or if God is everywhere, then I don't need to go to church to connect with him, and so on and so forth. And just like dating and relationships now, we can boil much of this down into a blatant fear of commitment. Many people have become so fearful of the words organized religion, they are grasping for any outlets that accommodate their needs over the commitment itself. Now, this is not to dismiss people who have faced disgusting behaviors in religious sects, and they're now having to sort through all the seriously disturbing trauma that can go with that. But most people who really leave religion do not leave because of abuse. They leave because they want religion to work for them and not the other way around. This is a fundamental problem to all of humanity. And it is why the biblical story of the fall is the story that keeps on giving, and not in a good way. Namely, the more we keep focusing on our individual entitlement, the more we keep supporting the same grave mistake depicted in the story of Adam and Eve. It was Adam and Eve's, it was Adam and Eve's turn to arrogant entitlement that became the very bane of human existence. Even many atheists and agnostics understand well that self-absorbed, entitled behaviors can take a wrecking ball to morality and interpersonal relationships. And this all leads to a crucial point when dialoguing with spiritual but not religious and also agnostics. When defending the Catholic faith, show that, at the minimum, Catholicism is rooted in responsibility. Our faith is not about beliefs that work best for us. And it is not just about the personal relationship with Jesus, a mantra perpetuated by other Christian denominations. It is about giving our spiritual nature to God. It is about connecting his son's sacrifice and resurrection for every one of us. It is about honoring the sacrifice and resurrection by embracing the sacraments. It is about following a catechism that the early church fathers painstakingly compiled so that the magisterium can effectively and consistently teach a gospel that has not changed within the church for now 2,000 years. Side note, that alone is practically a miracle to human social evolution. And finally, it is about the Mass, the time when we gather to turn ourselves outward to God, to make the Mass about him. And yes, I just said that. The Mass is about God. It is about celebrating our salvation. It is not the what's in it for me show. Yes, it is about responsibility. And you can see that strong sense of responsibility in the most devout Catholics. When we reach that kind of responsibility, we become stewards to each other. We make a point of caring for one another's well-being. We think deeply about how our actions will affect others and how they will affect our relationship with God. We truly do not want to leave anyone abandoned. We embrace the sanctity of life. We strive every day to be responsible. Now, in this video, I've provided some links to resources, responses to spiritual but not religious, and also some doubts about, for example, questions that come up in separating spirituality from religion. For example, the role of Jesus in human evolution and our walk in life. For example, like we're gospel writers basically making up some stories about Jesus' life to make him sound divine, or does the resurrection, or the Jesus story, if you will, is it a rip-off basically of other of pagan traditions and religions, again, that popped up throughout the Mediterranean, Middle East, over, well, of course, hundreds of years, thousands of years. Right? Please feel free to use those resources as with the resources in the other videos in this series. Again, hope this is beneficial to you, and you're dialoguing with spiritual but not religious, agnostics, etc. too. And we'll see you in the next part, part 3. That'll be dialoguing with Protestant Christians. So thanks again, and see you again soon.